All right, let's bring it all home. In this final explainer, we're going to pull together everything we've learned across our entire 10-part series on AI due diligence. We'll review how the world's sharpest investors, partners, and regulators really look at your AI efforts, and more importantly, what you can actually do about it. And hey, if you've been with us for this whole journey, seriously, a huge congratulations to you. Sticking with it shows you're committed to mastering what is, without a doubt, one of the most critical topics in business today. So now, let's connect all the dots. Okay, before we dive in, you know the drill. Our standard but very important disclaimer. This review is all based on that comprehensive research report from Virtualization Options LLC. And as you can probably guess, we've only scratched the surface of what's in the full report. This is all for informational purposes. It is not legal or financial advice. Our goal here is to give you the strategic framework to think with. So, here's the game plan for today. We'll kick things off with the due diligence reality, just to recap why this stuff matters so much. Then we'll get into the detective work, how stakeholders find the real truth. From there, we'll explore capability and the sometimes shocking consequences of getting it wrong. Then we'll shift gears and focus on the solution, moving from just mitigating risk to building genuine credibility. And we'll wrap it all up with a practical implementation roadmap. Let's get into it. So, our first section really gets to the heart of the matter, something we first looked at way back in Chapter 1. We're talking about the huge, sometimes massive gap between the story your marketing team tells and the reality that savvy stakeholders actually uncover. This is the why behind this entire series. And the stakes here, well, they aren't abstract. They are incredibly high, and they are measured in cold, hard cash. A 35% average hit to your valuation. Think about that. That's the price an organization pays when a sophisticated partner digs in and finds out the AI governance reality doesn't match the glossy brochure. This one number proves that getting this wrong has immediate, painful, and very real consequences. Now, what I love about this slide is how clearly it lays out both the risk and the reward. As we talked about in Chapter 2, investors are now using these kinds of maturity models. If you're graded as immature in your AI governance, you're staring down that 35% discount. But, and this is the exciting part, if you can prove you're optimized, you could be looking at a valuation premium of 30% or more. The gap between the best and the worst is just enormous. So the multi-million-dollar question is, how are they figuring this stuff out? This brings us right to our second section, which pulls together what we learned in Chapters 3, 4, and 5. It's all about the modern toolkit investigators use to slice right through the marketing fluff and find the ground truth. The absolute game changer, as we saw in Chapter 3, is open source intelligence, or OSINT for short. And no, this isn't some secret spycraft from a movie. It's simply the practice of methodically collecting and analyzing information that's already out there, in the public domain. It's about finding the truth that's hiding in plain sight, and it has completely revolutionized due diligence. And this just shows you how wide they cast the net. I mean, look at this. Evaluators are looking at everything. They're analyzing your public code on sites like GitHub. They're mining what your employees really think on Glassdoor and Blind. They're tracking who you're hiring and who's leaving on LinkedIn. They are building a detailed mosaic of your organization that is way more accurate than any PowerPoint you could ever give them. And as we explored back in Chapter 4, a single quote like this can undo months of marketing efforts. This is a raw, unfiltered signal coming directly from your front lines. When an investor reads this, they don't just see a single unhappy employee. They see a giant flashing red light signaling a massive gap between your strategy and your actual execution. This external digging also extends to the regulatory maze. In Chapter 5, we looked at this incredibly complex global landscape. You've got the EU's AI Act, the patchwork of different laws in the US. It's a lot. And potential partners and investors know this. They don't just ask, do you have a compliance policy? They dig deep to verify that your day-to-day operations are actually compliant. So this leads us directly to what these evaluators find when they start digging, and the often catastrophic consequences of failure. This next section pulls together the hard truths from Chapter 6 and 7, looking at both the hidden technical risks and the very public, very costly failures. Chapter 6 taught us that a real technical assessment isn't about shiny new features. It's about this hidden value destroyer, technical debt. And it's not just one thing, it's a whole family of risks. You've got model debt from too many unmanaged models, data debt from messy, poor quality data, monitoring debt from essentially flying blind once your AI is live. Each one is a little landmine just waiting to go off. And when those landmines detonate,
The results are, well, they're devastating. In Chapter 7, we walk through several case studies. A fine of this magnitude, $3.7 billion for a single financial institution because their algorithm was biased, it's a brutal reminder that these are not theoretical risks. The consequences are terrifyingly real.
But here's the real kicker. Those direct costs, even a fine that big, are only the beginning. This chart shows the multiplier effect perfectly. That initial fine, that's just the tip of the iceberg. The total impact, when you factor in the damage to your reputation, the lost business, the new regulatory handcuffs, it's often 3 to 5 times higher. This is exactly why investors are so obsessed with your governance. They're pricing in this massive downside risk. Okay, enough about the problems. Let's talk solutions. Let's pivot. This next section shifts our focus to the proactive strategies we covered in chapters 8 and 9. How you can move from just playing defense to building authentic, lasting credibility. The most crucial point from Chapter 8 is to avoid what we call governance theater. You know what I'm talking about? Committees that just rubber stamp things, or policies that are written once and then live in a binder on a shelf, never to be seen again. Effective governance is the exact opposite. It's baked into your daily workflows, it's visibly championed by leadership, and it has real authority. Stakeholders can spot the difference between theater and reality from a mile away. And here's the really counterintuitive payoff. Good governance doesn't slow you down. It actually lets you move faster, a lot faster. Organizations with mature, effective governance actually deploy AI 73% faster than their peers. Why? Because they've built clear, efficient, automated pathways to get things done right. Governance stops being a roadblock and becomes a competitive advantage. Building on that, Chapter 9 gave us this fantastic roadmap to building real, authentic credibility. And I want you to notice the order here, because it's absolutely critical. It all starts with building substance first. You have to do the hard work of creating real capability before you even think about shouting it from the rooftops. Perception has to follow reality, not the other way around. And that brings us to our final section, drawing everything from Chapter 10 together. We've reviewed the problem, the methods, the consequences, and the solutions. Now, what do you actually do on Monday morning? Here are 5 concrete steps to get the ball rolling. First, you have to do an honest, no-fluff assessment of where you are right now. Second, prioritize. You can't fix everything at once. Third, invest in the unglamorous but essential plumbing, like testing and monitoring. Fourth, and this one is so important, create psychological safety, an environment where your teams feel safe to raise red flags early. And finally, make sure the story you tell the world actually matches what's happening inside. And that leaves us with this one final thought to carry with you. In today's transparent world, your organization's AI story is constantly being told through your public code, through your employees' reviews, through your operational data. It's being told with or without you. The only question is, does the evidence that stakeholders are finding actually support the narrative you want to tell? Thank you for joining me on this journey.